So here we are again at our next edition of the Ben and Gary Show. We know dentistry. We've had another question come. Thank you very much for sending your questions. We've been receiving them through Facebook and Twitter and other social media. Really good one here that sounds so basic, but a person asked us if the whitening toothpaste were safe to use. And boy, if you go to the CVS, what do you see in the dental?
Well, you see row
aisle?
after row of different toothpastes, and some of them are by the same manufacturer, Colgate, but they've got all the different types, and Crest has all the different types, and they always, some talk about whitening your teeth, and that is one of the things that we're not crazy about because each toothpaste has an abrasive index, and typically the whitening toothpaste are the most abrasive on the market. So we don't recommend those because they will cause sensitive teeth, for one thing, and also they are just, they'll cause much more wear as far as the wear on the enamel. So those things are items that we try to stay away from and so we don't recommend those in our office. So that's one thing we really have to
Perhaps maybe if you can step back for a second and just describe essentially how whitening toothpaste work. And as Gary just mentioned, that each toothpaste has an abrasive or fits onto an abrasive index, and the whitening toothpastes are the ones that are more abrasive than any of the others. And what effect can that actually have? Well, essentially they put silica into all of the toothpaste. And so that's what gives it its abrasiveness. If you think about silica and what it's doing for you in the toothpaste, it's working externally on the tooth to be able to scrub off whatever's on the surface. If there's surface stain, something abrasive will help it. Think of it as Comet for your teeth. I'm not quite sure if you really want to brush with Comet. As you can imagine, Comet on a smooth surface is going to scratch. And if you scratch that surface, guess what? It's much easier for the next stain to adhere to your tooth. And if this over time makes you want to brush more, eventually you're going to run out of enamel. And that's when the sensitivity arises. That's when if you have a little bit of gum recession around any of your teeth, that the part that's going to be exposed is going to be the root of their tooth. The root of their tooth is far more, much more sensitive and softer, and it's going to be a lot easier to saw through it. So if you add up about 10 years worth of whitening toothpaste that are abrasive, and by the way, they're only getting more and more, they become more and more of a whitening product. Extra strength of whitening toothpaste means you have extra amount of silica inside of that toothpaste. So going in that direction, you will only damage your tooth over time, particularly if you're not using the right toothbrush. A harder toothbrush will just make that whitening, that abrasive process occur that much more rapidly. So how hard you brush with and with your toothbrush and what you brush with makes a difference. This is why we've gone back to, what did we go to now?
It's a very, very, very soft toothbrush by Colgate.
Colgate's toothbrush, ultra soft is what we prefer. If it's an electric toothbrush that you don't actually have to put your own physical force on your teeth to be able to apply the toothpaste and to remove plaque and bacteria, that's much better than simply using your large muscles quickly in the morning to brush your teeth as quickly as possible. Usually that's done when you're least aware of what you're really doing because you're thinking about what your day is going to be. And guess what? Your force on there, the faster, the better. You're just becoming more efficient at rubbing off your enamel. And who wants that? That just adds up to the place where on down the line you're going to be asking us questions about how do I improve the look of my teeth through veneers and crowns, because what you've done to your teeth has already been done and we can't put it back on again.
Right.
So whitening toothpaste, when you go to that aisle and you see nothing but rows and rows and levels of shelving of whitening toothpaste, make sure you go all the way down to the bottom, because that's where the traditional old school toothpaste, such as just regular Colgate, regular Crest, which has a low index on the abrasive scale. Some of the other ones are some of the Sensodyne toothpastes are excellent because they also too are designed with very little abrasive in them. And make sure your toothpaste actually has fluoride in it too. Just because it says it's going to make your teeth look great doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do that. What they're trying to do is sell you more toothpaste.
Right.
So be careful. The whitening toothpaste can be good. Don't overdo it. Don't brush too hard. see your dentist. Come see us.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that sounded kind of salesy, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah. I guess I'm getting better at this.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, this is this next episode of the Ben and Gary Show. I really messed that up. Let me take that one more time. The Ben and Gary Show. We know dentistry. We'll come at you next week when I can speak a little bit better.